Good afternoon. My name is Gary Bagoff. I'm a partner at Citron Cooperman, and welcome everyone to our today's program. We're very pleased to have today as our guest, Barry Wiegmann, CCR, the CEO of Schulman, Wiegmann and Associates, whose company proudly serves the states of New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. His company provides certified court reporters in real-time testimony and delivery at depositions and trials, legal videographers in New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania, including video depositions of medical and technical experts, duplicating and editing, also interpreters and foreign language specialists, interpreters for depositions, difficult dialects, and then transcripts of foreign language documents, and also provides litigation support and trial presentation of evidence, as well as video teleconferencing facilities in New Jersey. I'd like to welcome Barry and all our guests today. Why don't we just dive right into our program? And Barry, can you tell us how you got started in the profession and ultimately opened up your own firm?
Well, that goes back to an interesting story when I was 15 or 16 years old and growing up in Carteret, New Jersey. I had a next door neighbor named Nancy Buscelli, and our families were very close. And Nancy was a court reporter, and she bought a brand new car every 2 years. And what do 15-year-old boys have an interest in at 15 and 16? Cars. So I said to my dad, I said, "Hey, Dad, why does Nancy buy a car, a brand new car, every 2 years? She had like a brand new GTO, then she had a Cadillac, and she had some very nice cars over the years." So he said to me, "Well, she needs a write-off." I said, "What's a write-off?" So he explained to me the definition of tax write-offs at that time. And it was very interesting to me. I loved the concept, and I loved the fact that I'd be able to buy a new car every couple of years. So I basically went over and interviewed Nancy as to what a court reporter is, what a court reporter does, and how interesting her job was. And she basically sold me on court reporting. And from that point on, I had an interest in it. And my senior year of high school, Cy Satone, who was the local court reporting school, introduced a small introductory program to my typing teacher at the Carteret High School. And they encouraged me to take part in that senior year. And I said, "Hey, this is a pretty good opportunity to get my feet wet and see a little bit about stenotype and learn a bit about stenotype." And I took it that year and went over to interview with Cy Satone at the Satone Institute in Edison. And my graduating year in high school, I wanted to do nothing else but go to court reporting school, and it sounded like a really, really interesting job to me.
And how did you ultimately decide to open up your own firm?
Well, that goes back to after I graduated court reporting school, and I actually worked for Cy Satone in Edison, and then he moved his office to New Brunswick. And Cy was so busy with the school, and the school was in Edison and our firm was in New Brunswick, that he had very little time anymore to spend with us fledgling reporters. And his agency began to flounder a little bit, and some people left who I looked up to. And a buddy of mine got together and said, "Hey, let's start our own court reporting service." And back in the day, it wasn't that hard because you could do freelance work in the court system. And one of the notable trials that I relieved for, I did not report for, but I relieved for, was the Manning trial that took place in Somerset County. And I was asked by the supervising court reporter to come in and relieve one of the court reporters who was a regular official in front of a judge in Somerset, because they were doing daily copy on the Manning trial. If people may remember, John Manning was the guy who killed Trooper LaMonica in the winter time. I think it was around December 15th or so in the late 80s or early 80s, around 1983 or 82, up on Route 80. And he gunned him down and murdered him, and his trial was taking place. And there were some threats that there were going to be either the Black Liberation Army or some sort of group that was going to attack the courthouse during his trial. And they had state police helicopters over the courthouse. So that was my first forte into trial work, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed meeting the other officials in the courthouse and learning a lot about their job, because I had to actually do their job while they were reporting daily copy, the Manning case. So it was a lot of fun.
That's good. This past year is one that I don't think anyone could have imagined or prepared for. You hear and read stories about challenges businesses faced due to the pandemic. Please tell us how you've adapted the court reporting process with respect to the closure of courts, law offices, and municipalities.
Well, that's an interesting question. We've adapted in several ways, but the biggest adaptation was Zoom and Microsoft Teams. We are utilizing those two platforms every day, and I had to quickly train my reporters to come up to speed on Zoom and Teams very quickly. So that March of 2020, when we basically got shut down, I guess it was around the 18th or 20th of March, I quickly had a seminar for my court reporters and trained them on Zoom, and because I figured that would probably be the largest platform, and it was a pretty good guess. And then I conducted an hour and a half or 2-hour seminar for the New Jersey State Bar Association, training lawyers on Zoom, and an introductory to Zoom, and that went over well. I think, quite honestly, the lawyers had a bigger weight to carry in transitioning to remote and Zoom than the court reporters did, because the court reporters are very adept in computers and computer technology. Computers have been used in the court reporting business since I was in court reporting school back in 1983 was the introduction of the first computer. And we have been using computerized steno machines and computerized translation laptops for about 38 years now. So, but again, the biggest adaptation was Zoom, and people grasped it, but people had a lot of issues with it. But just like when you throw a child into water to learn to swim, lawyers are quick to learn, especially when they have to. And the transition was teamwork. We helped a lot of law firms get up to speed. I discussed a lot of technology with judges and retired judges who are mediators who didn't necessarily have an office staff to help them. And I volunteered to teach people how to operate Zoom, how to conduct coherent and cohesive Zoom calls and proceedings on Zoom, and how to share documents, and the simplest way to share documents. And I'd say, for the most part, everybody has done a heck of a job. Attorneys, judges, and court reporters coming up to speed with working remotely and conducting some great hearings and keeping the legal system moving. So it was a challenge, but we certainly had enough time to do it between March and, say, June, because everything was shut down. And I'm going to take you back to some of the attitudes of lawyers back in the day when I was polling some of our clients. And a lot of the plaintiffs' lawyers specifically said, we're not trying cases. We're not going to do it remotely. We're going to wait until the courts open up. And that's how we're going to handle things. And I said to him, gentlemen, I beg to differ. I think this is going to be here to stay. And I think if you embrace the technology, you will enjoy it. We had been conducting remote video teleconferencing depositions for the last 25 years. So this was just another step in the future of technology, just a forced learning step for a lot of practitioners who relied heavily on their secretaries and their support staff to help them with this, but they, quickly learned that they had to do it on their own. And they purchased new laptops and they purchased equipment. And then I guess roundabout August, September, October, a lot of the assignment judges said, listen, gentlemen, you're not going to sit by the sidelines anymore and not try cases. We all have to get back to work, and we all have to get back to trying cases. So slowly but surely, criminal cases got back in play, and then matrimonial cases got back into play, and probably in the last 6 months to a year, civil cases have come on board. And to a limited degree, the highly technical cases cannot be tried by Zoom. The highly document sensitive and evidentiary sensitive cases cannot be tried by Zoom, but a lot of the cases can be and were and still are. And we're hoping that, quite honestly, by the middle of September, we will get back to the courtroom again. At least that's my goal, and that's my hope. And I'm sure the judiciary is going to take us there. They're progressing at lightning speed now, and it's all up to vaccination and staying safe and getting people into an environment where they feel comfortable and safe. And I actually enjoy being in the courtroom,
Mhm.
and I enjoy people, and I enjoy the legal theories of cases, and I actually do trial presentation work in the courtroom. So excuse me, I help lawyers prepare their cases in some cases that require trial presentation of evidence in large, voluminous, document intensive, and evidentiary intensive cases. And I actually sit in the courtroom and show the evidence on an 8-foot screen with an LCD projector. So I really want to get back into the courtroom. I really love helping people try cases and being part of the judicial system and teaching judges and jurors and other lawyers about some of the technology that we can use to advance us. And I really hope that we can get back there, because I really enjoy not only court reporting, but trial presentation work and the whole ball of wax of all the services that we provide to lawyers in the legal community and municipalities. And one other point I say before I will finish this line
Right.
is I had also been bringing in witnesses remotely for many years using Skype as a platform in the courtroom, and I would hook up the witness, say from Cleveland, Ohio, who couldn't travel for whatever reason and had to testify in Morris County. And I would bring in my LCD projector, my computer equipment, and I would bring the witness in over Skype so that they could testify in the courtroom before the judge and jury. And it worked out very well as a portable remedy to bringing in a remote witness via teleconferencing or technologically remotely testifying in the courtroom. And Skype was another good platform that court reporters and I myself had used for many years to conduct remote depositions. So it's been a lot of fun, and having that advanced knowledge pre-pandemic helped me in a lot of ways coach a lot of people to get to where we are today with Zoom, and I had a lot of phone calls from clients and good friends about how are we going to do this and how is it going to happen. And I said, listen, guys, I'm going to simplify it for you. It's very easy. You need to embrace it. Let's do a little Zoom call here. And I think in a lot of ways, everybody's Saturday night cocktail Zoom calls with family and friends helped them get comfortable with it during the pandemic, when everybody was sitting around saying, okay, now what do we do? We've been shut in for weeks and we haven't seen our friends. So that was a really good way for people to become familiar with hooking up Zoom and connecting to Zoom, and monitoring their volume levels and their look on Zoom and things like that. So it's been quite a fun learning curve, actually. Trying to emphasize the positive and not look at all the negative that we experienced.
It's very interesting. You basically answered a couple of the follow-up questions that I had for you. One of the things that stands out to me is your ability to lead and become a resource, not only for your own team and your own reporters, but for other people throughout the court system. And that's really important. One of the next questions I was going to have about what major challenge you had during the pandemic and how did you succeed? And you went right to that topic of how you embraced technology before, during, and you're going to be able to succeed going forward. One question that I do want to follow up on is, what's the status of the court systems right now? I know you briefly touched upon you're interested and you're really eager to get back to court. What's the status right now in the tri-state area?
Well, I know in some of our local counties, they are handling some in-person trials on a limited basis. And I know Hunterdon and Warren have prepared by purchasing many laptops and protective equipment. And one of the biggest problems, quite honestly, and a lot of people don't realize this, is trial attorneys look at jurors' expressions. And some of you may be familiar with the TV show Bull, who is a jury profiler, which I actually love Bull. And you really are at a disadvantage as a trial lawyer when someone's wearing a mask. So I know that Somerset County, Hunterdon County and Warren County have ordered those clear plexiglass masks to alleviate that problem with facial expressions on jurors. So you wouldn't think that would be a major issue, but it is for a trial attorney to be able to communicate properly and get a feel for how the jury is reacting to certain issues in a major case. So, but getting back to your main question, Gary, there are trials going on in a limited basis right now, because they have to protect people, obviously, in the courthouse setting. And jury rooms are not huge in a lot of these courthouses, so social distancing is a problem. And they're trying to keep people safe and proceed with caution as best they can. So hopefully soon we'll get the green light to open up all the courthouses full swing and get back at it. And I spoke to a judge in Mercer County last week who has been ordered back to her courtroom in full swing in the next few weeks. So it is going to happen. And my prediction is, mid-September, maybe first week of October, we should be back to normal. God willing, we don't have another huge outbreak with this new variant, but I'll leave that to the medical experts and won't practice
Sure.
medicine without a license.
I want to follow up with you with respect to your own business. And I know that your employees are extremely loyal to you. Can you share your success in developing a devoted team? I I think it'd be really interesting to the audience, and your success in developing such a great team for such a long period of time.
Well, the one thing I like to do is observe other people's management styles.
Mhm.
And over the years, I worked for other people in the court reporting business, namely Cy Satone, and I'll credit him for a lot of my management skills, but also some of the mistakes he made with me, I took and changed from the perspective of personal relationships. Everything I feel in business is a personal relationship, in that when you reach out and touch people in a personal way with kindness and warmth, I think it comes back tenfold to you. So I don't have a management style that is micromanaging and condescending and badgering people all the time. I treat people as professionals, and I trust that they're going to do the job that I hired them to do. A lot of my court reporters are my friends. 3 of my court reporters on staff I went to high school with and lived in my same neighborhood in Carteret, New Jersey. And oddly enough, I grew up on Patrick Street with Nancy Buscelli, and there were 4 court reporters that were born and raised on Patrick Street, because there must have been something in the water, or Cy Satone
Right.
was a really good businessman, because he cultivated that internship in Carteret High School, and a lot of us went right into it because it's a very interesting field. Just when you think you've found a topic that was so bizarre, the next one comes up, or the next legal theory comes up, or the next strange case. But getting back to management skills, I rely on my people as professionals to do a job. I don't have any doors on my offices. And Gary, you know this because you've been in my office.
Many
I
times.
don't have any doors on any of my offices in my office, because it's a barrier. And I want people to feel that they can talk to me anytime about anything. And I was taught back in court reporting school by Vinnie DeAngelis, my theory teacher, who was a great man. The only stupid question is the one that you don't ask. And I cultivate my office staff to question everything, so that they know what I'm thinking, and I know what they're thinking, and we have a very close relationship. And I'll oftentimes just walk down the hall, and it's a very small office, and I just call a quick meeting and say, hey guys, I got a thought on my mind. I want you guys to know how I'm thinking about this particular issue in case it comes up. Or I spoke to such and such reporter, and she had an issue on this particular job, and you should know about it when it comes in. So I try to keep people informed as much as possible. I have a very, very close working relationship with everyone that works with and at my firm. And it's done well for me for the last 38 years. And I've made
Yes.
a lot of great friends in law firms, and a lot of great friends in court reporting. And I treat all lawyers in the business as friends. And I really love the court reporting business and going to work every day. I really do.
Well, it's a testament to your style, because when I've been to your office several times, you have a collegial and cooperative and teamwork approach, and the people that you have working for you just always get the job done, and it's a relaxed atmosphere. So you found the recipe for success. I know that our time is limited, but I do want to ask a really important question about the profession. So if you could tell us what you see in the how the business model is evolving. I understand there's a shortage of court reporters. Can you tell us why, and what can be done to alleviate the shortage?
Well, one, I'm going to go through this from the beginning. The shortage stemmed from court reporters being taken out of the court system back in the late 80s by Chief Justice Willents. And they wanted to try and save money on the official court reporters. And that was the death knell in our coffin as an industry. People didn't see us as a viable industry anymore because we weren't in the courtroom. And they think that audio is a viable record. Audio is not a viable record. We have clients who hire us to come in to report trials, high-end employment trials, because audio is not the end-all be-all. It is a horrible way to report a record. It cannot stop a speaker when there's an issue with audio in the courtroom. And by far, the court reporter is superior. So in turn, that started people thinking that maybe court reporting in the future was not going to be here. I've been hearing this since the day I started court reporting school. Why can't we record the proceeding? Yes, you can record the proceeding, but it's not going to be what a court reporter will record. A court reporter hears 100% of the proceeding. We type 98% accurately at 225 words a minute. That is a phenomenal accuracy rate. And most court reporters do this every day as a norm. In order to pass the New Jersey State test, you have to record 3 pieces of testimony dictated at 5 minutes each at 180 words a minute, medical, 200 words jury charge or literary, and 225 word for voice, which means the court reporter has to keep track of 4 people speaking at one time, a judge, 2 lawyers, and a witness, and objections happen, and 225 words for 5 minutes is very fast, and it's a pass or fail. It's 98% accuracy or better, or you fail the test. So it's not like you can score a 70 on the court reporting certification. So anybody who's certified, you're getting the best of the best in the state of New Jersey. It's not an easy test to pass. It took me 2 times to pass it, including 1 test in the state of Texas. So in a combination of things, that was the first step to having an issue with getting students to go to court reporting school. I think we as an industry kind of rested on our laurels because of the discouragement of the court reporter being taken out of the courtroom, and also the fact that so many court reporters are so busy because of the shortage that we don't talk it up at cocktail parties and we don't talk it up to friends. Listen, it's a proven fact. Everybody is not college material. Every high school student is pointed to college by the administrators and the guidance counselors and their parents. Everybody needs to go to college. Everybody does not need to go to college. There are fields out there that are perfect for people who want something different. For instance, the electrician field or the plumbing field. Who doesn't know a plumber who's wealthy today? Who doesn't know a well-off electrician? Well, court reporting is one of those fields. It's fallen in the niche. We're back to promoting it today. The online schools are flourishing. My middle son, Justin, is in court reporting school today, and he's about halfway through with his speed building. And hopefully in the next year, he'll be able to take the test. We are, as soon as high schools open up, I plan to go out and rekindle the excitement in the student body at a lot of local high schools to consider court reporting as a viable career path. It is a perfect career path for people who need to take time off for whatever reason. Maybe they need to take care of an elderly parent and they can only work 3 days a week. It's a perfect career for someone who works 3 days a week. You can make between $35,000 and $45,000 working 3 days a week. A full-blown court reporter who's working 5 days a week reporting and, 1 day a week on the weekend proofreading and editing is making anywhere between 80,000 and 150,000 a year. So it is a very, very lucrative position. It is a very honorable position. It is a position that you will never see an advertisement for in the paper or the want ads. And it's a very under advertised and unfamiliar career path for a lot of people. But I'll tell you what, for the last 38 years, it has been my life. And I really, really enjoy being a court reporter and being the head of an agency and supervising other court reporters. And I've trained many, many young court reporters over the years who have gone on to do great things. One of them I'll mention here today, Rich Jamosin, who worked for me for many years, and he's a real-time writer. And he's now a national speed champion at our national speed contest. He's a very good stenographic writer, and he's a good guy. And he was one of my trainees, and he's gone on to surpass me tenfold in stenographic writing. And so there are people that cross your path that you help out, and you give them a little launch, and they take off, and it's a proud thing. So
that's great. Thank you. You're very passionate, and it's very exciting, and you've been very successful throughout your career and built a great network of referrals and friends. And I want to thank you for coming here today and sharing your experiences with us. I'll open it up if anyone in the audience has any questions. We have just a couple of minutes. We're running a little bit behind, but if you have a question, we'd love to hear from you. Okay, if not, I thank everyone for coming, and
Hey,
thank you again, Barry.
Before we close, can I just say one other thing?
Sure.
I think the technology of Zoom is going to be here even after the pandemic and the courts open up, because it is a very convenient way for attorneys to communicate, take depositions, and discover what the case is about without all the expense. For instance, if lawyers would normally travel to Texas or California, they will save the travel expenses for their carriers or their clients and use Zoom. And it is a very viable, very efficient way to conduct litigation today. And I think it's here to stay. So that's one of the things that the pandemic has changed in a positive way. But I think it's absolutely going to be here to stay. And we as court reporters embrace it because we also love the technology.
That's great. Thanks again, Barry. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, Gary.